Hi, I'm Jessie Allers, and I just wanted to do a self-reflective video describing and talking about some of the things that I learned this past semester in our classroom assessment class. While there's a lot of information, I feel like I have pulled some very valuable things out that will help me in my teaching career. The standard error measurement was really interesting to me because of the IQ testing that we do in the special education world. The WIS-4 has a standard error of measurement of plus or minus 3. However, when it comes to qualifying students for cognitive disability, it goes by plus or minus 2 past 70, or plus or minus 2 from 70. So therefore, a student could potentially score a 73 on the WIS-4 and they would not qualify for cognitive testing. And if they do not, if their achievement scores reflect their ability, then they would not qualify for special education services overall. So this is a big issue that could potentially affect a student based on the standard error of measurement. Another thing that really stuck out to me during this reading and during this semester was the chapter on fairness, because we give a lot of different assessments in various ways, and especially when working with special education students, there are a lot of biased things in there that they have not been exposed to, so fairness is a big issue. I've also been more quick to make sure that I'm doing the judgmental absence of bias scrutiny on my assessments that I am giving to the students to make sure that they're getting a fair assessment. Along those same lines, I actually had thought that validity was in reference to the actual assessment, so that was one thing that I did learn, and that validity is really how the test results or the assessment results are interpreted. So validity relies on the actual teacher's opinion and interpretations. One conversation that I've had with our principal and fifth grade team is actually about effective assessments. After I read that chapter, I felt very empowered and felt like we could do more to give these effective assessments to our students, because especially in the middle school level, I feel like motivation and their ideas about how they learn and about themselves really do play an important part in their learning process. So during teaming one day, we did have a conversation, and one of the teachers has come to me and talked to me about doing some effective assessments in her classroom. So that has been very, very beneficial. The third thing that stood out to me the most, besides standard error of measurement and fairness, was portfolio assessments. While I have personally done quite a few portfolio assessments myself for different college classes, I had never started incorporating them in my current classroom fully, just because I work with some pretty difficult special education students, but that's not really an excuse not to do it. And I feel like after reading about it and reading some of my peers' comments, I think that it would be very, very beneficial to have my students start doing it throughout the year, just to help promote that self-awareness and have them check in on their work and do self-assessments on themselves. Granted, I will have some students that probably won't understand, but for a majority of my students, it would be very beneficial. It's something that I'm going to work on next year, because I also think that it would help my parents get more involved in what their child is learning here at school, and it just gives a lot of really good real-world problem-solving skills to these students. Overall, I learned a lot during this semester. It flew by rather quickly, and it seemed like a lot of information, but I feel like I pulled out the things that are going to be most beneficial to me, and I'm able to use those this year and in future years of my classroom. It was very interesting, and I thank you for all the time that you spent. Thanks.